Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stacy Kellums, and I want to welcome you to this week's training session. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today so that you can learn this amazing material. Whether you know it or not, that makes you one of the top 1% of 1%, because most people are watching Oprah right now or doing whatever the heck else they're doing that is not going to enrich their lives. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being a student of life and wanting to make your life and your family's lives even better than they are right now by learning this amazing information. And let me tell you, we've got some amazing stuff for you today. On the call today, as you can probably already tell by looking at your computer screen, I've got my good friend Cameron Dunlap. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Cameron. First of all, he's going to be teaching you, as you can tell, how to make fast cash with foreclosures. We're going to be talking about REOs. We're going to be talking about how to buy them, how to flip them, how to fund them. He's going to take you through the entire process from A to Z, and he's also going to hand you a turnkey system on a silver platter. And Cam and I were just talking a few minutes ago about just the incredible opportunity that still exists in foreclosures. If you think you've missed the foreclosure boat, you have nothing to worry about, because the ship has not left the port yet. Cam and I were just talking about how there's probably another, at least one wave, maybe two more waves of foreclosures when the banks finally release all this quote-unquote shadow inventory. If you don't know what shadow inventory is, Cam is going to fully explain it on today's training session. Basically, it means that banks are intentionally holding back some of their inventory because they don't want to dump it all on the market right now at once, because it'll drive the prices even further down. So they're holding some back. So they're trying to balance out supply and demand. Cameron's going to get into all of that, but the point is you have not missed the boat. This foreclosure crisis, unfortunately, is going to be around for many more years to come. However, there is a silver lining to this crisis, because whenever there's crisis, there's opportunity, and that means there's going to be opportunity for you to get in there and make as much cash as you can over the next 5, 6, 7 years for yourself and your family. And Cameron's going to show you exactly how to do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to get a pen and paper right now, and I want you to take some amazing notes. I've got my paper in front of me. Anytime Cameron Dunlap speaks, I'm writing it down, because let me tell you a little bit about Cameron. Cameron's been a full-time real estate investor since 1993. Okay, I thought I'd been doing it a while. I didn't get started until 1995, so he's got me by a couple of years. But let me tell you what that means, because you might not be connecting the dots. So that means that Cameron got started during the last downturn. Okay, yep. Because the early 90s were when the RTC was around. That's when I got started. I was buying some RTC properties. I'm sure Cameron was too. But the point is, he got started in the last recession, and he made a ton of cash during the last recession in the early 90s. Then, of course, he made a ton of cash during the boom, and now he's making even more money than he ever has before during this recession. So what that means is you're listening to a man who's been through multiple cycles. He's been through 2 down cycles and an up cycle. It's not like he just started investing a couple years ago, okay? So you definitely want to get your pen and paper ready, because this man is full of wisdom, because he's seen it all. There's nothing that you can throw at him that he hasn't seen before with as many years of investing as he has under his belt. He's been teaching his proven real estate strategy since 1995, which blows me away. I was barely buying my first real estate property in 1995, and you started teaching in 1995. So I'm just blown away by what Cam has accomplished. You know, he's literally touched tens of thousands of people's lives as long as he's been teaching. And he's always been focused on foreclosures. That's what he does. You know what they say? A jack of many trades, a master of none. Well, that doesn't apply to Cam. Cameron has always focused in on foreclosures with laser beam intensity, and he has mastered his craft, and that's what he's going to share with you today. And, you know, one of the things that really that I really admire about Cam, and you can just see it in every facet of his life, is Cam is the ultimate family guy. And his real estate business provides him with the income and the lifestyle so that he can be more than just a father, that he can actually be a dad. And I know Cam's a huge He's a huge family man. Like I just said, he enjoys being a dad, not just a father. And let me tell you what the difference between being a father and a dad is. I told Cam I had a little story that happened just this morning, and it illustrated to me, really what the difference is between being a father and a dad. And Cam's the first person I ever heard who made the distinction between being a father and a dad. But here's the difference between being a father and a dad. Last night, I had to be a father, and my oldest son, my 6-year-old boy, Cage was acting up after dinner, and he just would not cooperate. He was just making bad choices left and right. And in our house, we make sure that we put a lot of emphasis on you're making bad choices right now, and as a result of your bad choices, these are going to be the consequences. You're going to lose privileges, and he just wasn't having it. He was just throwing an all-time he was having a major meltdown, throwing a temper tantrum, and so he lost some privileges for today. And it was a little, chaotic last night around bedtime at the Kellum's house, if you know what I mean, if you've been there. Well, this morning, I was still waking up. My wife, Shay, was already up, and she was making breakfast, of course. Isn't that the way it works, Cameron? Though our hard-working wives are up.
Not in my house.
A few minutes before, not before you?
Nope, well, I'm up early.
Nice. Well, my wife got up a little bit before me this morning, and Cage came in. And he crawled up in bed with me, and he put his arms around me and gave me a big hug, and he said, "Dad, I'm sorry about the bad choices I was making last night. I love you." And I mean, my heart just opened up. And that's the difference between being a father and a dad. It really, and that's what this lifestyle, the real estate lifestyle, affords Cameron and I, those kind of luxuries, that we can be there for our kids, that even when times get tough, and we have to come down and we have to be a father, we're still a dad. And our kids love us and respect us because we spend so much time with them. And I went into the kitchen, Cameron, I'll finish the story. I went in the kitchen and I thought, oh, Mom must have told him to come in there and say that. I said, did you tell Cage to come in and apologize for his behavior last night? She said, nope. She said, not only that, he came in, he woke up, got dressed, came downstairs, and went into the kitchen where she was cooking breakfast, gave her a hug, and told her good morning, and that he loved her, and that he was sorry for his bad choices last night, and that he was going to have a great day today. And that is, just the perfect start to a great day, And I think that's exactly what Cam is talking about when he said that this real estate business provides him with the income and the lifestyle to not only be a father but a dad. And I know I went off on a tangent there, but I think it's really, really important to understand that Cameron and I aren't in this business just to make money, okay? There are other tangible assets other than making money. And once you get good at real estate, in the beginning I know it's about making the money. Cameron and I were there at one point too. We thought it was hard to make money, but once you understand the game, which Cameron's going to explain in detail today, exactly how to do this step by step. He's going to hold your hand. He's going to show you the process. Once you understand it's not hard to make money, and once you get over the fear of doing your first deal, then it doesn't become about making money anymore. It becomes about all the other things that real estate provides, like being able to spend time with your friends and your family and your loved ones and doing what you want, when you want, where you want, and for as long as you want. So Cameron has a ton of stuff to share with you today. And I know I heard you on the line a second ago. Cameron, are you there?
I'm right here, Stacy. Sure appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. I appreciate it as well. Sorry I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but
no problem.
I wanted to get that in there because this, what you're going to share with us today really is more about it's more than just about real estate, isn't it?
It is. There's a bigger picture, there's no doubt.
All right. Awesome. Well, do you have anything you want to say before we get started?
I'm excited and raring to go. I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to working with your folks, and so when you say, I'm gonna tear into it.
All right. I know you've got a lot of information to cover. Again, folks, if you're just now joining us, Cameron's going to be showing you how to make fast cash with foreclosures. He's going to show you every step of the process from A to Z. So get your pen and paper ready right now. He's going to take it away. And Cameron, I know you've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to mute myself right now, and let's go ahead and get rolling.
So with that, let's get cranking. Let's talk about what we're going to cover during this training. We're going to talk about how to buy and sell foreclosure properties without money or credit, without you doing any repairs, without you dealing with tenants, and without you dealing with any of the usual hassles. We're going to do what's easy. We'll talk about how you'll have access to unlimited proof of funds letters available without waiting 24/7. So you can literally begin producing proof of funds letters for yourself minutes after we're done with this training. That soon. Immediately following this training, you can begin producing proof of funds, all of which I personally back up. We will talk about that in detail. We're going to cover how you'll have access to low-cost transactional or flip funding on an unlimited number of deals. That's same-day and multi-day funding. We'll talk all about that. We'll talk about how you'll systemize your business using my hands-off virtual investing tool. It is the platform on which you will run your business on autopilot, and it's called iFlip. It is the bomb. It is changing people's lives. It will change yours. And if you're an iFlip user, you know just how powerful this system is, and you've seen just how far we've come with this. It has evolved and become an absolute powerhouse. There is nothing in the business that even comes close. Then we'll talk about how you'll get a detailed step-by-step home study program on audio CDs and a training manual, none of which that'll be a huge commitment of your time, but all of which will contain the information that I simply don't have time to get across now. I assure you, during this 90 minutes, I'm going to get 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound sack, but there's only so much I can do. We'll also talk about how you'll get access to my secret REO vault. This is where you'll find thousands of REO deals at your fingertips. It's updated daily. And we'll talk about how to build a massive buyer's list and sell your houses easily using my bulletproof two-pronged approach. And then we'll also talk about how and why you'll get personal support from me in your real estate business. That is what we're going to cover. So if you haven't grabbed a pad and a pen, do it. If you have other things open that are distracting you, close them down. And let's dig in. I want to quickly introduce you to my wife and daughter. I don't ever do a training without introducing my girls to the folks. That's my wife, Helen, and my daughter, Nicole. My wife, Helen, and I are just about to have our 18th anniversary. We've been together for a good long time. And my daughter, Nicole, she is certainly the cause for complete redefinition of my life. She redefined the meaning of my life. Those two girls are the reason I am who I am and do what I do, and I owe them both a ton of credit. My wife for putting up with me and for having faith in me when things didn't look so great. You know, I quit a great job in 1993 and went into real estate full time, and it took a little while to get things going, and we had to live on her income. And she didn't have to be so cooperative and supportive, but she was, and for that I owe her a ton of thanks. And my daughter, thanks to her, I get to see the world through her little eyes, and I'm constantly reminded of how incredibly cool and awesome everything is, and that's what kids and grandkids do for us. They force us to slow down and smell the roses. In fact, they sometimes shove them in our nose, and that's what's so great about little people. And in particular, my daughter, Nicole. She is certainly the apple of my eye. It was 1993 when I quit my job, a corporate job. It was a good job. I grew up the son of an entrepreneur, worked for my dad for many years, but then that changed because of a giant, ugly recession in the early 90s. Some of you probably weren't paying attention and even realized it was going on, but it's almost like deja vu. The housing bubble popped. We were in a horrible recession. It lasted for years. It was a double dip, the whole thing. And so just in case if you think what we're going through now is unique in any way, it isn't. This is just another cycle. But anyway, I walked away from that job on a wing and a prayer. I bought Carlton Sheets' home study system. I did one rehab deal, made some pretty good money on it, and with that confidence and a few bucks in the bank, I quit my job, and we moved to Florida. I grew up in Connecticut. That's where I met my wife. We moved to Florida in 1993. I went into the business full-time, and I did a ton of deals down there until 2001 when we decided to move to upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York where I live now. And, we moved here for a number of reasons, but the biggest one was because it's really what my wife wanted to do. Some people, they say to me, what kind of an idiot moves from South Florida to upstate New York? That's the wrong direction, man. And my response to that is always the same thing. I say, hey, look, a good man is only as happy as his wife. And, you may have heard it another way, happy wife, happy life, or you can be right or you can be happy. Pick one. Any of those works. And yes, I admit it, I'm a subscriber to Whipped Magazine. That's the magazine for men who don't make the decisions. You can be your own boss when she's not around, coping with the loss of your friends and the introduction of hers, dealing with the absence of sex, 10 new ways to sleep on the couch, how to avoid confrontation and keep her happy without getting yelled at, plus tips on lying and how to get out of her family events. Any other subscribers on the line? Oh, I bet there's a few. Well, look, bottom line here is if you'll follow my lead, you will make more money. I know that's why you're on this webinar. You're looking to make more money and take a bigger piece of this opportunity pie that's out there, put more money in the bank, change your situation, change your future, change the lives of your family, change the lives of your heirs. I know that's why you're here, so follow my lead, and like so many of my students and you will make more money. That is the goal of this training, is for you to make more money. And by far and away, the best deals out there are flipping foreclosures, buying and selling them quickly for fast cash profits. And when you do that, those big piles of cash come rolling into your world on a regular basis, and that's what it's all about. We're going to focus on fast cash income, not long-term retirement strategies, but how to put money in the bank immediately and keep it coming in on a regular basis. That's what we call cash flow. That's the big goal here, is to get you bringing in regular paychecks on a regular basis. Paychecks like this. Here's one for $23,000. Shoot, they spelled my name wrong. Look right here. They spelled my name wrong, and it's still cashed. Here's another one for $35,000. Here's one for $40,000. Here's one for $54,000. Here's one for $6,000. That was not so exciting, but it sure beats a sharp stick in the eye, no doubt. Here's one for $24,000, and I could go on and on and on and on. I've got checks for hundreds of thousands, little teeny checks, big checks in the middle. Checks like this are a regular occurrence in my life and will be in yours too. When you're doing the right things, you have the right tools and systems in place, these type of checks become a regular thing. And you know what? When you see them start to come in and you begin to expect them to continue to come in and you do the right things, they just do. They come in on a regular basis. All right, so now let's get into the exact type of house that we want to be looking at in order to make this work with the least amount of hassle, right? What we want to look at for buying and selling quickly, I'm going to define the strategy here. It's commonly called wholesaling, where we buy and sell quickly. The best end of the business to be in is entry-level houses, first-time home buyers. Okay, so look, there are entry-level homes, there are move-up homes, and there are luxury homes. And each of those represents an opportunity for sure. But for buying and selling quickly in this market, in volume, I suggest you stay at the bottom of the price level, at the entry level, and the houses that sell to first-time home buyers, okay? So if you look at your screen, here's an example of one. Now, I'm pretty sure that was an oil can before the folks moved in, but I'm just kidding. That's, by the way, that's not some Photoshop masterpiece. That's real. But all kidding aside, this is what I'm talking about when I say an entry-level home. A little slice of Americana, your basic 3-bedroom, 2-bath, maybe 2-bedroom, 2-bath house in a homogeneous neighborhood. Now, where do you suppose that house is? It's everywhere in America. But what do you suppose it costs? Well, that's something different everywhere in America. What is an entry-level home is an entry-level home no matter where you go. But what it costs will differ from market to market. So, for example, a typical entry-level home in my area is, $100,000, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. In the Bay Area of California, you're looking at $350,000, $400,000, and then everything in between. The point is, if you understand what I mean by an entry-level home, and forget about what it costs, because whatever that is what it is, then we're on the same page. But one thing to note, if you live in an expensive market, and you're dealing in entry-level homes that just cost a lot, well, then your profits are going to be bigger. A lot of people erroneously think that they need to be doing this in cheap markets, and that's wrong. Do it wherever you want, and know this, that the more expensive the houses are that you're dealing with, the bigger the profits. It's real simple. So why? Why do we want to focus on these first-time home buyers and the houses that they buy? Well, 80% of the properties sold in the last year were sold to first-time home buyers. That is a very powerful statistic. 80% of the residential properties sold in the last year were sold to first-time home buyers. And the reason is simply because there are unique and special financing programs available for first-time homebuyers only. FHA, USDA, local banks, credit unions, regional banks, they all have first-time homebuyer programs that are unique and special and have lower credit score requirements. The closing costs are lower, and there are even federal, state, and local incentives out there. There's here in the county where I am right now, there's a $3,000 closing cost grant for first-time homebuyers, and a grant is free money. So that's how local markets kind of keep the housing market moving, is they create incentives for the entry-level houses, and it sort of trickles up from there. That's what's going on. And you probably know that the mortgage markets are frozen solid right now, with one exception, and that is entry-level or first-time homebuyers. There is where the free-flowing mortgage money is available even now. Plus, first-time homebuyers make emotional buying decisions. They're not as picky, so they're just easier to sell to. So those are some pretty darn compelling reasons to stay focused. If you're flipping houses, flipping REOs, flipping foreclosures, there's pretty compelling reasons to stick with first-time homebuyers and the entry-level homes that they live in. Are you following me? Are you getting this? This is all what's working right now. So now the idea, the strategy that I want to share with you is where we buy low and we sell low. Now that defies conventional wisdom, I know. Economics 101 says buy low, sell high. But what we're going to do is wholesale this house. We're going to buy low and sell cheap to an investor or a rehabber or a landlord. Then they'll do the repairs, and they'll be the one to sell it to that end user first-time homebuyer. So when we stick with the houses that appeal to first-time homebuyers, we're going to feed investors, rehabbers, and landlords with the deals that they most want, because they get the fact that the free-flowing mortgage money is in the entry-level end of the business, so they're looking for these first-time homebuyer entry-level houses themselves. We're not going to sell it to the end user. We're going to sell it to the investor, rehabber, or landlord. Then they'll do the repairs, and they'll sell it to the end user. So the target property is a foreclosure in an entry-level neighborhood, and that is a junker. So write that down for me. Foreclosure, entry-level junker. And the reason we're going to look at junkers is because those are the ones that we can buy cheap enough and put a wholesale markup on it and resell it and still give our buyer a smoking deal. That's what makes this work. You've got to give your buyer a smoking deal. You've got to take greed out of the equation and leave enough on the table, enough profit on the table for your buyer. And the way that works is when we focus on junkers. Because here's the thing. Houses, foreclosure properties, bank-owned properties that are in good condition, move-in condition, well, they just don't sell them dirt cheap, and you wouldn't either. But the ones that are all beat up, those they sell dirt cheap. Now, it may be, in your market, there may be more competition or less. We'll talk about that some more. The point is, if we focus on foreclosure entry-level junkers, those are the ones that have enough room in them for us to mark them up and move them on. Now, I want you to understand something. When we're wholesaling, we aren't doing the repairs. We're not going to get hard money. We're not dealing with contractors or handymen, and we're not dealing with all those hassles. The rehabber deals with that. The rehabber is going to make a lot of money on this deal. In fact, you, as a wholesaler, you want to be comfortable with your customer, the rehabber, making more on the deal than you. And they'll certainly earn it, because that rehabbing, if you've ever done it, you know it's not easy. There's good money in it. But what I'd rather do is flip these things as is and to investor, rehabber, landlord buyers, because it's easy. Now, what you may not know about me is I've been in the business for a long, long time. I've been doing deals since 1993. That's a long time. Do the math. I've done every conceivable type of transaction you can imagine, and in fact, I started as a rehabber because, that's conventional wisdom at its best. I started as a rehabber, as do many folks who don't ever bother to get out of the box, to think outside the box like you are right now by being here. And by the way, I congratulate you for that. So I started as a rehabber, but then became a wholesaler and continue to wholesale houses on a daily basis, and I'll tell you why. Because it's easy. You know what? There's more dollars per transaction when you rehab, but the hassle factor is so much greater, I don't care. So you might want to follow my lead here, and when you do, you'll make more money. and you'll have a lot more time and a much better attitude when it comes to spending it. Believe me, I've tried that rehabbing thing. It's not for everyone. It's not for me. I went from a rehabber to a wholesaler. Why don't you start there? If you're new to the business, by the way, the fastest, easiest way to get to a paycheck and to really get yourself fired up and wave that check in the face of the doomsayers in your world, the fastest, easiest way to get there is by wholesaling a junker to a rehabber. If you're in the business, you're doing rehabs, you're doing short sales, you're doing commercial deals, whatever, then look, here's the thing. This wholesaling is how you fill in the cash flow gaps. If you're a rehabber, you know that you get a check when you get a check, it's a big payday, but then you may go for weeks or months until you get your next check. And that's just the nature of the beast. Well, if you do some wholesaling in between, you fill the gaps in between those paychecks, now your cash flow is a lot more level. The cash flow curve is flatter, and you have more predictable income, and it just makes everything a lot easier. So whether you're new or in the business, wholesaling is definitely something you want to really look at carefully because it is easy and it's very profitable. So we're not dealing with any contractors. We're not dealing with the repairs. And I'll tell you what else we're not dealing with is that end user buyer. Now, they're not as picky and they're easier to sell to, but they're still going to the bank and that whole underwriting process, that's work. We don't deal with that. We just flip it to our investor, rehabber, landlord, buyer who will most likely be paying cash or will bring some sort of creative financing to the table to do it, and then we move on and go do it again. And here's something else. When you take greed out of the equation, you sell cheap, you leave enough on the table for your investor, they'll come back and buy from you again and again and again. Now you might say, well, why would this person buy from me when they could find the house themselves? Because they're too darn busy dealing with contractors and buyers, and if you can bring them deals, where there's more than enough in it for them, deliver them to them on a silver platter, they'll take every one you can bring them. This is how it works, and I'm here to tell you, this whole sailing thing, it's the way, it's the ticket, it's the way to go. Okay, so let's move on. How will you find the best deals? All right, so the idea here is to be the early bird, right? We want to get the worm. We want to find the best deals. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of really powerful strategies for that are working in this market for me and my students. Number one is the MLS. You need a realtor to access the MLS. If you're a realtor, that's fine. If you're not, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be. You'll work with one. And what I suggest, if you're looking at houses that are listed in the MLS, by the way, stands for Multiple Listings System or Service. That's the big giant database that the realtors all use in every county or however it's divided up where you live. It's usually by counties or by cities. Anyway, a couple of suggestions if you're going to be looking for foreclosure properties in the MLS, and there are tons of them in there. First, work with a realtor who gets it, one who considers him or herself a foreclosure specialist. Because you know what? Then you won't have to teach them anything. Trying to teach a realtor what it is you want to do is like trying to push a rope uphill with your nose. It's just not worth it. So work with an agent that already gets it. And so they understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. It'll just make your life a lot easier. Then, tell that realtor what you'd like to look at in the MLS, those MLS-listed properties, are the oldest listings first, the ones that have the greatest DOM, or days on market. See, the longer they've been on the market, the greater the likelihood the bank is going to be willing to take your offer. There's an old saying that all sellers' minds change with time and circumstance, and that is absolutely true even with banks. Sometimes banks price their properties aggressively right out of the chute. Sometimes they price them foolishly and wait literally months and months and months to get them sold. And what happens in the end is they sell them for about what they would have sold them if they had just priced it correctly to begin with, only they foolishly ended up with another 6 months of carrying costs. Well, duh. So the idea here is have this foreclosure specialist realtor looking at the oldest listings first. Those are the best prospects for you. Then, make sure you're writing these down, by the way, too. This is critical stuff. Then, understand that banks dump properties at the end of the month, the end of the quarter, and the end of the year. Okay, so that's when they're looking to clear their books, get those non-performing assets off their books, and start the next accounting period with as clean a slate as possible. And so that's when they're often most willing to dump. Very, very few people know that. Now you do. And so use that to your advantage. This is good stuff, isn't it? All right, so that's what the MLS listed stuff. But let's take it a step further. Let's talk about pre-list REOs. Okay, these are properties that are not in the MLS yet. REO, if you're not familiar with that, stands for real estate owned. So this is a bank-owned property. The foreclosure process is complete. The bank owns it. It's in their REO portfolio, but it hasn't gone in the MLS yet because, well, the bank is still clearing up the title and moving it through their bureaucratic process. And for a lot of banks right now, that's a disaster area, and sometimes it can take weeks or even months before they actually get this thing on the market. But so while it's owned by the bank and not in the MLS, you'll spot it because it'll be sitting vacant with no for sale sign on it. In fact, that, the Century 21 sign or the RE/MAX sign, whatever, that doesn't actually go in the yard until the property goes in the MLS. So it's sitting there vacant with no for sale sign on it. However, there is a realtor's lockbox on the door, and here's why. Every bank in every town where they have foreclosure properties has REO listing agents that they work with. Write that one down for me. REO listing agents. That's a really good person for you to get to know. These REO listing agents have relationships with the banks, and they're the local boots on the ground, and they help the bank dispose of these non-performing assets. So the bank takes the property back by foreclosure. There's a sheriff's sale or a trustee's sale. The gavel comes down. Bang! The bank owns it. The bank will let the local real estate agent, the REO listing agent, know about the property right away because they count on that agent to help them with what's called the property preservation. And that involves changing the locks, fixing the broken windows, getting the house secure, getting the lawn mowed, getting the trash hauled out, getting the dead car pulled out of the side yard, that sort of stuff. Getting it ready, that's all going on, this property preservation, at the same time that the bank is clearing up the title and moving it through its bureaucratic process. All the while, the house is sitting vacant with no for sale sign with a realtor's lockbox on the door. That realtor's lockbox, by the way, some people ask me, they say, well, how do you know a realtor's lockbox when you see it? It'll look different from the kind you can buy at Home Depot. And that realtor's lockbox is a huge clue that this is, in fact, a bank-owned pre-list REO. So it is an REO, but it's before it's been listed in the MLS. That's why we call it pre-list. Sometimes you might hear it called a shirt pocket listing, meaning it's in the shirt pocket, figuratively speaking, of the listing agent. No one knows about it but him and the seller. That's the key. No one knows about this property but the agent and the seller and you. Now, it's important to understand that there is no list. You can't go online and buy a list of vacant pre-list REOs. Someone literally has to drive up and down the streets to find these. Would it be worth it? Oh, man. We call it driving for dollars. Very worthwhile, although you may not want to be doing it. It may not be the best use of your time. We'll talk more about that. The point is, there is no list. It's not in the MLS, so your competition doesn't know about it, and you do. That's called getting, the early bird gets the worm, crushing your competition. So here's the process. You contact the realtor, let them know, him or her, that you're interested in the property. And they'll tell you, well, we can't do anything with it yet until I get the listing agreement, but when I get it, we'll make your offer. So when the listing agreement comes, it may be a week or two, it may be a month, the agent will be compelled to call you and say, okay, I've got the listing agreement, let's get your offer in now, before it goes in the MLS. So you submit your offer, it gets accepted, you now have the property under contract. It goes in the MLS, just like it was meant to, but instead of going in as an active listing, which is typical, it goes in as a pending listing, meaning it's already under contract, not available. So it goes in the MLS, but literally flies over the heads of your competition and lands quietly behind them without them ever even knowing about it. Do you like the idea of this? It's hot, and very few people know about it. And you might be asking, well, what's in it for the REO agent? Why would they do this? Well, think about it. In a typical listing situation, the property, the agent gets the listing agreement signed by the bank. They put it in the MLS. Some other agent, like a foreclosure specialist, like we talked about a few minutes ago, brings a buyer and there's a transaction. The commission gets split between the REO listing agent and the buyer's agent, and that's typical. But see, in this scenario where the realtor comes to you and says, okay, let's get your offer in right now before we put this in the MLS, your offer gets accepted, the deal closes, they don't split their commission with anyone else. They get a double paycheck. Twice as much money they make on this. Twice as much. You show me an agent that's not interested in a double paycheck, and I'll show you a knucklehead. Now, will this work on every single transaction? No. But it works a lot. It's going on every day, right, if you're not aware of it, literally right under your nose. And now that you are aware of it, you can get in on this too. And by the way, if you ever have an REO listing agent who says, no, I would never do that, let me translate that for you. What they really mean is, I don't know you well enough yet to talk to you about this. It goes on every day. Now, let me give you a specific example. This is a house that I bought. It's on Rugby Road. Exactly the scenario we just talked about. It was a pre-list REO. There was a lockbox hanging on the door behind the screen door right here. This house was in pretty good shape on the outside. It really needed nothing. Had an after-repair value of $200,000. Needed $14,000 in repairs. And by the way, that was all on the inside. This was one of these typical foreclosure situations where the people tore up the house on their way out. They literally trashed the kitchen, broke the cabinets, smashed them right off the walls, holes in the walls. The bathroom, they took a sledgehammer to. There were holes in the tub. They ripped and burned the carpet. I mean, it was trashed inside. Needed about $14,000 in repairs on the inside. The bank's asking price. Finally, what happened was I got a hold of the realtor, just like we talked about, and literally it took over a month, but the bank finally sent the listing agreement to the agent. The agent contacted me and said, I got it, let's go. It was $76,000 they were asking. Shoot, look at the numbers. Had an after repair value of $200, needed $14 in repairs, asking price $76,000. Is that a good deal? My offer and purchase price, $76,000. And you know what? This was exactly what we're talking about. It happens every day, and we're funding deals. I do it every day, and we're funding deals for students that are doing this everywhere. Now, do you have to buy? Is every deal you're going to do going to be a pre-list REO? No. There'll be plenty of deals in the MLS that you'll be doing too. But the point is, when you know about this pre-list REO shirt pocket thing, oh my gosh, it opens up a whole world for you. And when you get to know the active REO listing agents in your area or wherever you decide to do business, you have your competition under your heel. That's what I'm talking about. This property, I turned around and sold. I wholesaled it as is, didn't touch it. Sold it for $129,000 and made $55,188 on this deal. That was a wholesale deal. I didn't rehab it. I didn't deal with hard money lenders. I didn't do anything. It was actually done on a back-to-back closing. So let me explain how this works. I put it under contract to purchase with the bank. Immediately following their accepting my offer, I went to my buyer's list with a price of $129, and because that was a bargain, I found a buyer in 2 days flat willing to pay me the full $129 for it. I scheduled a closing 17 days later, or my closing agent scheduled it, and we did a back-to-back closing. So in other words, we closed the purchase and the sale on the same day, and here's the beauty part. I had wet funds to do that. It takes wet funds to do this today. Let me explain. In the old days, not all that long ago, when you do a you did a back-to-back closing, you could literally take the $76,000 you needed to satisfy your seller out of the $129 that your buyer brought to the table because that's what they were paying, and you didn't have to come to the closing with any money at all. You used the buyer's money to satisfy the seller, and because it was all there on the same day and all the docs were getting signed on the same day, voila, no money needed. Well, those days are over. Now, closing agents want to see you bring wet funds to the closing. You have to fund that transaction, that $76,000 purchase, with either your own money or money coming from a third party that you've brought to the table. It cannot come from the buyer's funds any longer. Title insurance companies forbid that. They will not issue title insurance if those funds come from the buyer's escrow, so you've got to have wet funds. That's what they call that. Now, let me ask you a question. In order to make this work, you've got to have $76,000 in cash. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a great thing, because think of all the competition it eliminates. How many people in this economy have $76,000 in cash laying around to close this transaction? Hardly any. And now you might be saying quietly to yourself, yeah, me too, Cam, I don't have the money either. Well, that's about to change now that you know me. That's why you're here, to make more money. And you know what? When we eliminate competition along the way, like with the pre-list REOs and with the requirement of wet funds, more of this opportunity, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, opens up to you. So your slice of the pie gets bigger. Do you like the idea of a bigger slice of pie? Absolutely. All right, so moving on, let me ask you this, though. Do you think every deal can be closed on the same day? No, it's not always possible. Although we make it happen a lot, there are scenarios where it just won't. So that funding, you may need that funding for more than just one day or a couple hours in the case of a back-to-back. You might need it for several days or even 30 days. We'll talk about that. See, the good news is, listen, I've had my finger on the pulse of the real estate business for a long time. Hang with me. We zig when the market zigs, and we zag when the market zags, and you come right along with me. This same-day and multi-day transactional funding is what we're doing now, and we're making a killing for our students, and we'll talk all about that in a few minutes. The point is, when you can't do a back-to-back closing, well, you're not out of luck. We just switch gears. In fact, if you're wondering if this works, take a look at this. I told you, prior to you being here, you were told that you'd see proof. This is just a little bit of proof in front of you right now. Here's a spreadsheet. This is just a little sampling of deals that we funded recently, and what you're looking at is the customer's name, which is you, and then where the property is located, the amount we funded, and the profit, the green column on the right. That's the profit that the student made. We'll talk about my fees, which are, peanuts, tiny, in a few minutes. So the point is, I want you to see the kind of money that these folks are making all over the country, not just in one area, all over the country. And so that's what you can look forward to. We are funding deals on a daily basis. I want to fund yours too. All right, so how are you going to do these deals on a steady basis? That's a big thing. We don't want to just do this once, every 6 months or whatever and call it a hobby. No, we want to be doing this on a regular basis. How? Well, remember I told you, these vacant houses with no for sale signs and no lock boxes on the door, there is no list to buy. Someone's literally got to drive the neighborhoods. And that probably isn't the best use of your time, which is why we employ the help of bird dogs. Let's bring in some bird dogs to help us locate these houses. Bird dogs are regular folks who will bring you a steady flow of prospects dirt cheap. They're regular folks looking for extra income on their schedule and on their terms. I pay my bird dogs $5 to $10 per lead, and that's enough. That's plenty. And you might think, well, that's chump change. Who would do that? Well, you just hold on a minute now. You're here, so you're different. You think differently than most people, and the reason I know that is because you're here. And I'll tell you one other thing about yourself that you probably know, and if not, you need to know, and that is that you're weird. You are. You are not like most folks. I am not like most folks. And I'll tell you how I know that. You're here. I'll let you in on a little secret that maybe I shouldn't share, but I think it's important for you to know. That less than half of the people who registered for this webinar are actually on here right now. Less than half. And you're one of them. And for that, you get a lot of credit. You actually took the action. When you registered for the webinar, that was the decision, and then by showing up, you took action. See, success requires two things. You need to make a decision, and then you need to take action. You did both. The folks that are not here didn't do both. They didn't take action. Success is probably not going to come to them, and it is going to come to you. You're weird. And for that, I give you a ton of credit. You're just like me. Hey, we are both weird. Is that all right? We're weird. So anyway, the point is, we want to delegate this. We want to understand the value of our time. And drive in neighborhoods, that's not a bad thing for you to do. When you're in your car, anytime you're going anywhere in your car, take a different route and be your own bird dog, certainly. But what you need is just a small handful of bird dogs that are out there locating these vacant houses for you. They're driving neighborhoods. And if you think about it, they get out a few hours on a Saturday morning, they can make a couple $100. And to most folks, that's like a part-time job that they would have to work every night, 5 nights a week, so they wouldn't even get to see their kids. Now they can knock it out in a couple hours on a Saturday morning and take their kids with them on a scavenger hunt. Believe me when I say this. You start advertising for bird dogs, you will have no trouble finding all you want. They will knock your door down, especially in this economy. Now, when they start out, they're kind of cute and cuddly and fuzzy like that guy. Look at them. Look at those little feet. Aren't they cute? Right? But then with a little training and a little practice, oh, they turn into hawks. That's my kind of bird dog right there. But seriously, ask anyone you know who's successful if they've done it on their own, and they'll tell you, no, they had help. This is what we call delegating. And most folks, most entrepreneurs have a real problem with it. Most entrepreneurs are horrible delegators because they're so sure that no one can do it as well as they can, they just do it all themselves. And that is a trap. Don't get caught in it. What I want you to do is get some bird dogs bringing you these leads, and then that takes all of the legwork out of it. That's the idea, and for a few dollars. Listen, I told you that bird dogs are dirt cheap. Compared to any other marketing method to bring in leads, bird dogs are by far the cheapest and most effective. I've tried everything. So now the big question is, how can we do deals like we're talking about here, not once in a while, but once a month or twice a month? How can you do that once, twice, or more each month? That's a good question. Now, we'll get to the answer in just a second, but let's first talk about why you would want to do this once, twice, 3 or 4 times per month. Well, what you may not know is the average income on wholesale deals like we're talking about here. I poll folks all the time. Anytime I'm in a live environment, and this is a live environment. You're here, I'm here. But I mean, if we're in the same room together, I'll poll the folks and say, okay, well, what did you make? Tell me about who's wholesaled, deals, so we can get some hands. And okay, what did you make? And I get the answer to that, and then I ask them, how much time did you spend on it? Well, here's the average. The average income on wholesale deals is $15,000, and the average time spent on each deal is 3 hours. 3 hours. That's it. Now, you might say, hold the phone, Cam. You can't do a real estate deal in 3 hours. Yes, you can. Now, it's not going to happen, you're not going to start it and then 180 minutes later you're going to get a check. That's not how it works. But when you're on the phone for 5 minutes here, on the phone for 5 minutes there, and, filling out a contract takes 2 minutes and then another 5-minute phone call, add it all up, the aggregate of that is 3 hours on average for wholesale deals. Because, look, we're not filling out applications with hard money lenders. We're not getting estimates from contractors. We're not dealing with their BS. We're not dealing with owner-occupant buyers. We're avoiding all of that. We just find it, flip it, forget it, and go do it again. Average income, $15,000. Average time spent, 3 hours. That's it. So when you do that once a month, you carve 3 hours out of your busy schedule once a month, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and you make an average of $15,000, can you quit your job? I don't know the answer to that. Maybe. When you do that twice a month, will you be living large? Oh, and how? And when you do it 3 or more times per month, you can have anything you want. The good news is you set the volume knob where you want it based on your situation. If you've got lots of time, crank it up. If you're busy, slammed with all sorts of responsibilities, well then, just do it once a month. You set the volume knob where you want it. But the only way you're going to do this is to systemize the process. You ask anybody who's successful how they've done it, and they'll tell you, well, I got it down to a science. I have a system. I got it down to a system. You need a system, and your system is iFlip. iFlip properties automatically, and you will too. iFlip is a complete hands-off virtual real estate money-making system. It is literally the platform on which you will run this business on autopilot. The system does the work. Let me explain how this works. iFlip is the bomb. It is changing people's lives, and it will absolutely change yours as well. iFlip was born between my left ear and my right ear. I came up with the concept, the idea, and the architecture of this, and out of a need to have more time. You know, the fact of the matter is there are a lot of people who make a lot of money but have no time to enjoy it, and that is miserable. Of course, there are other people who have absolutely tons and tons of time and have absolutely no money. That is also miserable. The idea is to have the money and the time to enjoy it, and that's exactly what you'll have with iFlip, and that's exactly why I designed it, because I needed that time back. When my daughter was born, everything in my world changed, not to mention the fact that she was a preemie, came 10 weeks early and weighed 2 pounds and was purple, and we spent 8 weeks at the NICU at the living in the Ronald McDonald House in Orlando. That's another story. But in addition to that, I knew my life was changing in every way for the better, and that I had to find more time to not just be a father, but to be a dad. And so this system was born from that desire, and thanks to a computer genius in my office named Cheryl, who you will get to know when you get on board here, this system became a reality, and thanks to me using it and me coming up with new ways to make it better all the time, and lots of suggestions from the folks that are using it, it has evolved over 3.5 years into just an absolute behemoth. It is the bomb. iFlip is the bomb. It will change your life like it has changed so many others. All right, so let's talk about how this works. First off, it's web-based. So you don't need to load any software on your computer. It doesn't matter if you're running a Mac or a PC or what version of Windows or any of that. In fact, you can operate your iFlip system and account from any web-enabled device, including your mobile device. It's optimized for mobile devices as well. So anytime you have an internet connection, you have access to your iFlip system. You can be anywhere on the planet, and if you have an internet connection, you have access. I wanted it that way. That's what works in today's world. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a team and manage that team of bird dogs with the iFlip system, and then we'll manage the leads that they bring us. And the way we'll do this is we're going to run an ad, a proven ad that I've already written. I've tested it and tweaked it, and it just works. We run that ad on Craigslist or any of the other free classifieds, and it basically says, hey, extra income on your schedule, on your terms. And instead of putting your phone number in the ad, which, by the way, would be a giant mistake, don't do it, or you'll really wish you didn't. Instead of doing that, we put a website address in there because, you see, with iFlip, you're going to get several websites. I have time to tell you about 2, but you're going to get a bunch of websites. This one is specifically designed to attract bird dogs, and then the background database management, the office management piece, manages their contact, your communication with them, and all the leads they bring in, and I'll show you how that works. So we run that ad. They don't call us. They go online. Maybe yours is called, www.cookcountyhousehunters.com or SoCalBargainHouseHunters.com or VacantHouseHunters.com or whatever you want. And by the way, we'll help you brainstorm those domain names, those website names. We're real good at that, and so you don't need to worry about getting all creative. We can help you with that. So they go to that website. They learn all about what it is to be a bird dog, and and by the way, when that website is all templated for you, the copy is written by me, like your ad. I wrote all the copy. It's tested. It's tweaked. There's nothing like good copy. They say, heck yeah, I want to do this. They fill out a little form, and they hit submit, and boom, you have a new bird dog in your system. Now, as soon as they hit submit, a couple other things happen. One is you get a message to say you have a new bird dog, which is always exciting, and they get a welcome and training message. So it says, welcome to the team, and it literally trains them how to be a good, effective bird dog. So you don't even have to train them. You don't have to talk to them. All you have to do is run the ad and let the system do the rest. All right, so this is an example. We have all kinds of different templates. This is an example of one user's bird dog website. It talks about who we are and what we do, how you make money, how to get started, create your account, or log in. So the bird dogs come back here to log in once they've set up their account. They fill out a little form. They create a password account for themselves. They hit join the team at the bottom, and boom, you get a notice to say you have a new bird dog, and they get the welcome training message. Okay, so now they get out there and they start bringing in those leads, those vacant houses with no for sale signs with lock boxes on the door. Instead of calling you or emailing you with the lead information. No. They log back into the iFlip system, and they fill out a little form, and they upload the photos of the house, and boom, you have a new lead to be worked. You haven't, think about it, all you've done so far is run the ad on Craigslist. They log in, and it looks like this. They click Submit a Property. They fill out the form to submit the property. They even help us with the condition, and I don't have time to get into that right now, but I'll teach you that later, how we estimate repairs without even going to the house. And one of the ways that we do that, or one of the things that makes that work, is we have our bird dog help us. So they tell us about the house, and then they upload their photos. They click the little button down below, choose the file, and they go, and it's like what they call two-click FTP. So it takes them to their My Documents, and they go and they pick the folders or the photos, and they upload them. Oh, and it even resizes them for them. So your bird dogs need absolutely no technical expertise whatsoever, none, and neither do you. I'll show you that. And boom, you have a list of leads to be worked. Then once you put them under contract, you move them down to deals to be sold. And so this gives you a process and helps you manage multiple deals so that you can literally be doing as many deals as you want. I have an old friend who's not around anymore, but boy, he was a powerful influence on me, and he used to say, don't get one deal-itis. And without a system like this, you might get one deal-itis, but with a system like this, you could be working 10, 12, 15 deals at a time, no problem, because you're totally organized. Check it out. Here's an email from Greg Frazier. It says, hey, I guess I don't need to tell you how great your system is, but check this out. I placed my ads for bird dogs and buyers yesterday, and the response has been nothing less than excellent. I got 27 bird dog and 18 buyer responses in the first 24 hours. I'm so glad I have iFlip doing the work for me. That's what I'm talking about. Let iFlip do the work. Let the system do the work. All right, so now let's talk about how we're going to use it to sell houses. This is part of the process of building your buyer's list. This is very important. And by the way, if you think having a buyer's list is important, get this. I've been around a long time. I've been teaching folks real estate since 1995, and I've learned as much from my students as I've learned from any other experience I have in doing the business. And one of the things that I've learned is a lot of people quit or fail in real estate because they're afraid they won't be able to sell. If you're afraid you won't be able to sell, you'll probably not make any offers to buy. And if you're not making offers to buy, well, you're not going to be cashing any paychecks at all. In fact, the more offers you make, the more paychecks you cash. So having confidence you'll be able to sell might mean the difference between success and failure for you. It has meant that for many people before you. And so I'm aware of that, and in the process of building out iFlip, I wanted to make it easy for you to build a giant buyer's list with very little effort so that you have all the confidence in the world to be out there making your offers. So we're going to do that. We're going to build a list of motivated, hungry, bargain-hunting buyers. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to run an ad, a proven ad. I've already written it, tested, tweaked it, killer copy. Put that in the Penny Saver, newspaper, Craigslist, other free online classifieds. You cannot advertise it too much. You cannot have too many buyers. It's just not possible. The more you have, the better. Right? So we run that ad, and instead of putting our... Oh, and by the way, the premise of the ad is bargains for bargain hunters. Okay? So we run the ad, and instead of putting our phone number in it, we put our website address. This is another one of the websites you get with iFlip. It's all templated for you. The copy there, I've written, tested, tweaked. You can edit it any way you want, and I'll show you that in a minute. But it's all done for you. So they go to that website, they learn about how you have bargain properties available, and they fill out a little form, and they say, heck yeah, I want to hear about your bargain properties, and boom, you have another buyer in your iFlip database. So your page might look like this. There are all sorts of different templates and logos you can choose from. And if you have properties for sale, they'll be listed right there, and if you don't have properties for sale, that's okay too. In fact, I've designed the system so that you can build a buyer's list without having a house for sale yet. Some people want to build the buyer's list first and then go make offers. That, you might argue is cart before the horse, but if you think about that confidence issue I mentioned a minute ago, that makes a ton of sense. So, if you have properties, great, they're here. If you don't, no problem. You can either have no properties or you can borrow properties from other iFlip users and display them on your site. You can borrow their credibility if you'd like. And then we also have all the social media, stuff in there, so you can have people commenting on their Facebook about you. But take a look down at the bottom. There's the little web form. It says right there, and any time if they ask about information on any of the properties, we ask them for basic information. And what we have found, and we've tested this, is that people will fill out this form when they're getting something valuable in return. And so what it says is register to be notified of bargain properties available in your area. And all we ask them for is first name, email, and zip code. See it at the bottom there? That's that little web form. They fill that out, and boom, you have a buyer on your buyer's list. Now, some people might say, well, we really need to do more pre-qualifying. I mean, if we're going to be wholesaling houses to these people, we need to know, well, where do you get your money? How quickly can you close? What part of town do you want to be buying in? How much do you want to spend? Fundamentally, that's correct. But when the system is doing the work and the system is managing the leads, well, then who cares? We don't need to worry about pre-qualifying them. In this case, we're going to go for quantity. Forget quality. We'll let the cream rise to the top when we send a broadcast email to this list of buyers, and those that are interested we know are the ones that we're going to focus on in the future too. So the buyers list goes on and on and on. You run that ad, and by the way, see the yellow highlighted ones? I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Remember the nationally advertised website. Remember those yellow ones. I'll come back to that. And on and on. We just run the ad, and on and on. We've got buyers coming, buyers. Listen, this particular account right here, 2,129 buyers from running a few ads and driving them to your website. You could build yourself a big buyers list very quickly. And you have complete control over all your websites. It looks like this. You log in. The contact information you want displayed on the website is you fill in there. You choose the template, the color, the logo. And if you look in the center of the page right now, it says include other client properties. You can click yes and how far of a radius you want to pull from. Or you just don't select that at all. But that's how you can borrow other folks' properties and borrow their credibility if you want. And if you can do SEO optimization, so search engine optimization, right here with meta tags and all of that. And then you can use your social media right here. We include that so that people can like you on Facebook and they can tweet about you. And then you have complete control over the copy with no technical expertise required whatsoever. It's a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get editing system. You have total control over the system. You need exactly no technical expertise whatsoever. So now you've got the property, that Rugby Roadhouse, under contract for $76,000. Nice going. Way to go. And now we're going to send a broadcast email. That's the beauty of building a list of buyers on the Internet. We collect their email addresses. Now we compose one message to send to all those buyers. We include pictures of the house. We include a link back to our website for a full description. We tell them about the house. That's what I did with Rugby Road. I said, hey, I got a great deal on Rugby Road. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot, blah, blah, blah. After repair value, $200,000. Repairs, $14,000. Asking, $129,000. And then in that message, you might want to put in there, hey, I've sent this to all the buyers on my list, so if you're interested, let me know right away because I'm sure this will sell quickly, and watch what happens. You compose one message, send it to some or all of the buyers on your list. So the time it would take you to send the message to one person on your list, you can send it to all the people on your list, link them right back to your website, and watch how fast that house sells. When you sell it cheap, you take greed out of the equation, you leave enough profit on the table for them, that house will sell like that. And you'll have backup buyers. They're the ones that say, wait, whoa, you mean you already put it under contract? Darn it. Well, if that guy doesn't close, you let me know because I'll buy the house. I could tell you stories about backup buyers until we're both blue in the face. Backup buyers are where it's at, and when you price your properties right and you put the word on the street, you will not only find a buyer in a matter of a day or two, but you'll find backup buyers too. That's the idea. So we're automating the whole system here. The system's doing the work. You compose one message, and in the time it takes you to send it to one person, you send it to all the buyers on your list. Think about how powerful that makes you in the marketplace. And then what you'll want to do when you have a house in the system, whether you've added it or the Bird Dog's added it, with 2 clicks you can add it to the nationally advertised website. That's where you literally click yes, add it to the website, and submit, and it pushes the photos, the data, your description, all of that to our nationally advertised website, where we drive traffic here. On your behalf, we do search engine optimization, Google AdWords campaigns. We're driving all sorts of traffic to our nationally advertised website so that your house gets national, frankly, international exposure. And anytime anyone expresses any interest in your property, we ask them for their contact information. They get added to your buyer list. And here's what else happens. We drive a lot of traffic to our nationally advertised website, and at that website there is a form that a buyer could fill out where it says, fill out this form to be notified of good deals in your area. And when the buyers are within 50 miles of you, when a buyer fills out that form and they're within 50 miles of you, they get added to your buyers list automatically, even if they haven't expressed an interest in your house. Those were those yellow highlighted ones before. So when a buyer comes to you by way of our efforts, it's highlighted in yellow to let you know that. How cool is that? So now you're building your buyers list, and we're building it too. How cool is that? Excuse me. So here's a quick email from Jerry. It says, I just want to let you know that I just got my first wholesale deal done using your iFlip system. It really worked great. I made $18,000 on this, and I've got a bunch more lined up, and have made great progress in building a buyer's list. iFlip was the key component in getting this deal done for me, and it's paving the way to doing many more deals. I want to get an email just like that from you. So what's left? You got to cash the big paycheck. That's the best part. That's the last step. And I'm here to tell you, you let the system do the work, and you let those bird dogs bring in those leads. You make offers and put them out to your buyer's list. You're going to be cashing checks. The more offers you make, the more paychecks you will cash. And when the system and the bird dogs are doing the work for you, you are in business. How's it feel? You're in business. Set up time for this, 7 minutes. We made it absolutely simple. One of the things we did when we designed this, and we've continued to make even more so along the way, is simple for you, the user. Simple, simple, simple. And so 7 minute setup time. You get unlimited email accounts. So now you can build your brand. You can give your bird dog an email address at your bird dog domain, you at any of your domains, and your assistant, your kid, your spouse, your significant other, your neighbor, whoever you want. You can have as many email addresses as you want. And what that does is it gets your name out there. That's how you build a business. That's how you build a brand. You at Gmail is not that's not a business building strategy. I mean, look, I understand that Gmail is, pretty handy with a lot of stuff you can do. Well, just set up a forwarder so you at your domain goes to your Gmail account and you get all that Gmail leverage, but your exposure is you and your business, not Gmail. See, when it's you at Gmail, you're advertising Google. It should be you at your domain, so you're advertising you. And just set up a forwarder so that email goes to your Google account. And plus, you can do business anywhere in the USA. Think about it with iFlip. If you are in Chicago and you want to be doing deals in Austin, Texas, well, then just start advertising for bird dogs and buyers in Austin, Texas. Run them into your iFlip account. You can sort them by zip code, by city, by state. And then when you've got a deal in Austin, broadcast it to your Austin buyers. And when you've got a deal in Northbrook, Illinois, where you live, you send it to your Illinois buyers. You can be doing business anywhere you want. We have clients that sit in California that are doing deals in Maryland, Florida, and all over the place. It's very common. So if you think big, if you're a big thinker, and you look at the entire United States as your marketplace, iFlip is the system for you. And listen, I don't for a minute, I don't think for a minute that there aren't people on this call that are from outside of the USA. I'm sure there are people on this call right now from outside of the USA. You can literally do deals anywhere in the U.S. from your house in Copenhagen if you want, or in Toronto. So I want you to think big like I do and so many of my customer students do. Now, normally there's a $1,997 setup fee for iFlip, which you could easily justify. Good Lord, you'd only need to do one deal and you'd pay for it 5-10 times over. But I'm going to waive that for you. When you get on board with me here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you the iFlip system for free. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the more deals you do, the happier I am, the more of my funding you need. And I'm here because I want to fund your deals. So think about it. The easier I make it for you to do deals, the more of my funding you need. This is a kind of symbiotic relationship where we have a mutual vested interest in one another that is highly unusual, by the way. I'm sure if you're noticing that now, you'll notice it even more. I have a very unusual and very deeply vested interest in your success. I want to fund your deals. Now, there's a $49.99 per month hosting, tech support, and an enhancement fee on this, but I'm going to waive that for 90 days. So you try this out for 3 full months. Not a light version. You get it all. And if you like it, you stay, and if you don't like it, let us know when you're out. There's no commitment. Stay after the 3 months, it's only $50 a month. That covers hosting of all your websites, all your email addresses, all of that, tech support, and by the way, you know how we do tech support? Old school. No support ticket system. If you have a question or you need help, you send an email or pick up the phone and call, and do you know what? We answer. Or if we're tied up, we get back to you. We communicate with our clients because without you, we're nothing. So we take you very seriously. We provide a kind of customer service that is extraordinarily unusual in this business. And guess who heads up tech support in this office? Cheryl. Remember I told you the computer genius in the office who helped build out the system? It was my vision, my architecture, but her code writing skills that made this possible. Well, who better to handle tech support than the girl who literally built the system? So you'll love the way we treat our customers. You might be pleasantly surprised at how different it is from other experiences you may have had. And, of course, you get the enhancements. We're constantly enhancing this thing. In fact, there isn't a week that goes by that we don't have big improvements, enhancements, new features, new stuff that makes it more powerful for you. All of that's included for a measly $50 a month. And remember, for the first 3 months, you pay nothing, and there's absolutely no commitment. So if you want out, you're out anytime. And if you want in, if you stay in, it's $50 a month. It is by far and away the most comprehensive, easiest to use, best supported, and least expensive system of its kind. And you cannot believe what is on the whiteboard right behind me, and that's coming down the pipe for iFlip. I'm telling you, eventually iFlip will literally just hand you a check if I have my way. Look, bottom line is without iFlip, you're going to work hard. With it, you work smart, and you make more money. That's the whole idea. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. All right, let's talk about proof of funds. Proof of funds is an absolute necessity in the foreclosure business today. You must have it when you're dealing with institutional sellers, banks, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, VA, and even when you're dealing with realtors, sometimes realtors want to see it. And it better be verifiable. If you don't have proof of funds, you don't get to play the game. You're sitting on the bench and you get to watch others get the glory. Your competition does not have what I'm offering you here. Get on board with me and you've got proof of funds 24/7, 365 at your fingertips, and your competition doesn't. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. Whipping the competition. You get unlimited, deal-specific proof of funds letters. A new letter for every offer you make, and they're all backed by me. Here's how it works. Literally a few minutes from now, you'll set up your account and you'll have access to my proof of funds system literally in a few minutes. And you fill out a couple blanks and you hit submit. The system returns to you a PDF file that you can save to your hard drive, although the system archives it for you. You can print or you can email to your seller, to the seller's agent, to your buyer's agent, whoever you're working with, literally real-time, 24/7, 365. It doesn't matter if my office is open. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Doesn't matter what time zone you're in. It could be Christmas Day. You can produce proof of funds 3 o'clock in the morning. If you've ever lost sleep thinking about a real estate deal, right? You're tossing and turning at night. You can't sleep. Well, what I suggest is you get up, turn on your computer, print out a proof of funds letter, and smell that wet toner, and you'll go to sleep like a baby. It's like a cure for insomnia. You'll go right to sleep. It's awesome. And they're all backed by me. Here's what that means. And this is key. When the seller or seller's agent wants to know more, they can reach me. In fact, my contact information is at the top of your proof of funds letter. So when the seller or agent wants to talk to me or wants to send me an email, my contact information is right there. If they want to see a bank statement, and I literally sent out, 2, 3, 4, 5 bank statements today. If they want to see a bank statement to back up the proof of funds, sometimes they call it VOD or verification of deposit, I will be happy to send it. Now, I scratch out the account numbers. Don't get me wrong. But I will send them a bank statement to back you up. So your offer gets treated like it's as serious as a pimple on prom night. I've got your back. See, without verification, a proof of funds letter may not work for you. You can go on the internet and get a free proof of funds letter. But if there isn't somebody with a fat bank account willing to back it up, it isn't worth the paper pulp it's printed on. I've got your back. I've got a bank account where I keep a pile of cash specifically for this purpose, to back up your offers. How's that sound? You've got me. You're leveraging me, my credibility, my bank account. You get to borrow that credibility so that you can do more deals. Why on earth would I do that? Because the more deals you do, the more of my funding you need. And I want to fund your deals. That's why I'm here. And you can literally begin using this immediately in the next few minutes. You're going to get instant access to everything I'm talking about here. Submit your proof of funds with every offer you make, and you'll look like and be treated like a pro, not a newbie. Don't wait for them to ask for it. If you do, you look like a neophyte, like a bozo. It's required. Don't make them ask you for it. Send it with the offer, and you'll look and be treated like a professional. A 600-pound gorilla, in fact. Think about it. I've leveled the playing field here for you. I'm elevating you to the position of 800-pound gorilla. How's that feel? You're now in the game, big time. There's nothing holding you back. Think of the credibility this will give you. Huge. And you can make all the offers you want. Remember, the more offers you make, the more paychecks you cashed. Said differently, high-volume activity equals high-volume income. There is no limit. You can produce all the proof of funds letters you want, and I back every one of them. If the seller or the seller's agent wants to know more, I'm right there for you. I've got your back. Without proof of funds, you're on the bench. You don't get to play. With it, you make more money. That's the theme. That's the idea. We're on the same team. I've got your best interest in mind because I want to fund your deals. Here's some frequently asked questions on the proof of funds. And now, keep in mind that we're going to take questions at the end here, and we're nearly done. But these are some, really common questions, frequently asked questions that I get. First, what if my credit is bad? Will the proof of funds still work? Your credit is irrelevant. See, think about it. When you make an offer and it's not contingent on your ability to go and get a mortgage, in other words, if you don't need to qualify for a mortgage, the seller doesn't care about your credit. It's irrelevant. Do I need to have a buyer before I can make an offer? Nope. No. But having a buyer's list, a big fat buyer's list, may be just the ticket, may be just what you need. Who backs the proof of funds letter? Well, we've talked about that. That would be me. I've got your back. Now let's talk about that transactional funding, or what I call fund-a-flip. I made that up myself. I'm telling you, I lay awake at night thinking of this stuff. I got too much on my mind. I can't sleep. It's crazy. There's too much opportunity. You need this type of funding today when you're doing back-to-back or short-term flips, because you need wet funds. Remember, we talked about that before. If you don't have the cash to close, your offer won't even be accepted. And if you don't have wet funds, it isn't going to work. You're not going to be using the buyer's money. So here's how one of these flip deals works. We buy and sell quickly. There's party A, which is the seller. Party B is you. And party C is your buyer. There are two transactions. There's the A to B and the B to C. The A to B is where you're buying, and the B to C is where you're selling. They often happen on the same day in a matter of minutes, and it's all handled by the closing agent with our help. Now, if there's a few days in between, we'll talk some more about that. It doesn't matter. You've got us helping you. In fact, as soon as you submit this deal to us, we get involved. We go to work with the closing agent to make sure everything goes as smooth as a baby's bottom. The idea here is I want you to leverage our expertise of 3.5 years of transactional funding. We know what we're doing, and we're going to get this deal closed for you. You know what? You'll need this funding on bank-owned REOs And on short sales. If you're doing short sales, we fund those deals too. Obviously short sales are, a lot more complicated than REOs. REOs are just easy, and there's bazillions of them out there. So, I'm all about REOs myself. I mean, I've been doing short sale deals for years, but they're such a pain in the butt right now. I just soon focus on REOs, and frankly suggest you too. Look, you're going to need this anytime you're flipping and cannot use an assignment. So you won't need the funding on FSBO deals because they're assignable. What's an assignment? I'll explain that to you when we get together after this, like I know we will. I don't have the time right now, but the bottom line is bank properties, REOs, and short sales are not assignable. You have to close the A to B in order for there to be a B to C. Assignments don't work. Get on board with me, and you've got transactional funding, steroidal transactional funding, because it's not just same day, it's multi-day. When you need it, and your competition doesn't. Yes, once again, we just stomped the competition again. Have you counted how many times we've stomped the competition? Holy moly. There is none. You have none. They are under your heel. Now, understand a couple of things, okay? The type of funding that I do is not a hard money loan. So if you're looking to do rehabs, I'm not your guy. That's not what I do. And in fact, you'd probably want to talk to a hard money lender for that. In fact, this is not a loan at all. It's funding. So I don't care about your credit or your income or your assets. I'm not even going to ask. And by the way, try applying for hard money and see how if they ask you that stuff. Yeah. Well, this isn't a loan at all. It's funding. So I don't care about any of that stuff. All that matters to me is the deal. You bring the deal, but your credit, your income, your assets, they don't matter. You do need to have a committed buyer lined up and ready to go. So without the A to B, there's no B to C, and without the B to C, there's no A to B. And here's the deal. When you get this property under contract, you make the offer to the bank, they accept your offer, that day, you go to work lining up a buyer. And when you have that buyer lined up, we jump in, we go to work with the closing agents, we get everything lined up, and we help you make this thing happen. And I'll tell you what, here's the deal. You want us helping you with this because, the kind of expertise we have, your ability to leverage that could mean literally millions to you. Leverage our expertise. And we'll work with your closing agent. If you have one you like, no problem. We'll work with them. And if you need one, let us know. We'll refer you to a good one. We know the good ones from the bad ones. You don't want to get stuck with a bad one. We'll just save you the trouble there. Now, here's the good news. You get my preferred rate of only 2 points on same-day deals. 2 points. That's it. So let's talk again about that Rugby Road example. The purchase price was $76,000 plus a few closing costs, $800, $1,000, something like that. Let's just round it off to make it simple. Call it $80,000. 2 points or 2% of $80,000 is how much? $1,600. That's what you'll pay for the use of my money. Is that a lot to pay for that money? That's pocket lint. That's chump change. That's nothing. Compare that to any other source of funding. This is pennies. But is it a good return on my investment? It's huge. It's huge. And that's why I do it. So I get the little bitty check. I get a little bitty piece. And you get the giant life-changing check. Some models, and this isn't all that unusual. If somebody puts up the money for your deal, they get half the profit. That's not how this works. I just want my little bitty bit, just 2 points. That's all I want. And there are no hidden fees. There's no application fee, which is common elsewhere. There is no interest. There is no prepayment penalty. There is no minimums, and that's common elsewhere. And there's certainly no limit on the number of transactions you could do. That would make no sense whatsoever. In fact, the more you do, the happier we both are. I want you doing as many as possible. So here's a letter. This came by email from Faridun Safai. He's a habitual funding customer, one of many customers for whom we've funded many deals. He says, "Hey Cam, we closed our short sale flip deal today, and I'm writing to say thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. We netted just over $40,000, and without your funding, we wouldn't have made a dime. In the big picture, your fee was nothing. Even if you charged more, it would be worth it. I recommend your service to everyone. It's perfect for this market." Here's the key. He said, "We netted just over $40,000, and without your funding, we wouldn't have made a dime." So without the funding, there would have been no paycheck for Faridun. With it, he made over $40,000. The funding is the key, and I've got it for you. Without fund to flip, you're on the bench. With it, well, you make more money. There it is again. Okay, here's some frequently asked questions on the funding, and we're going to wrap it up. How much funding is available? A lot. However, I do have a single transaction limit of $600,000. On any one transaction, that is the most we will even consider, $600,000. But think about it. If you're dealing with entry-level homes, is that enough? You could be in Honolulu, Hawaii, and that's plenty. Is there a limited number of deals? No, that would make no sense at all. Will you fund commercial deals? Sure, we'll look at anything. We'll fund dirt. Are stated income and stated assets okay? They're fine. I'm not even going to ask. It's irrelevant. Is there a loan application? No, this isn't a loan. Will this work where I live? Yes, it works everywhere in the United States. We fund in every state in the United States. And if you don't live in the United States, you can do deals in the United States. You don't have to be here to do it. Look, America's on sale, and if you guys here in the U.S. don't realize, if you don't realize that people outside of the U.S. are looking hard at U.S. properties, you're missing it. They are. There's a lot of foreigners buying U.S. properties right now. Can I only use the proof of funds with your funding? I don't care. If you use my proof of funds and I don't fund the deal for you, I don't care, really. And if you use my funding and you didn't use my proof of funds to get the deal, I don't care. I'm easy. I really don't care. Are there hidden fees on the funding? No, we covered that. There are none. Whose money is used for the funding? This is key. Mine. Every single deal that we have ever funded, we have funded with my money. And you know what's interesting is you'll hear other real estate trainers out there say to you when they make their package available to say, yeah, I got your proof of funds and your transactional funding, you betcha. Yeah, and what they really mean is they're just going to give your name to some third party, and when you need proof of funds or transactional funding, they're going to send you to them. And I guess everybody's just going to sort of hope that that works out the way they planned. With me, you're dealing direct with the source. Direct. And as far as I know, I'm the only one in the business who can say that. Who should I use to close my deals? Anybody you want. If you have a closing agent you like, that you've worked with, that you have a great rapport with, fine, super. We'll work with them. In fact, we may use them ourselves later for someone else's deal. If you don't have a closing agent, let us refer you to one. We'll save you a lot of hassle and send you to one that gets it. Do you do longer-term funding? Yes, absolutely. You know what? In today's world, not every deal can close same day or back-to-back. In fact, in some places, the B2C simply will not close until the A to B deed has been recorded. In some places, we can get that recorded at 11 and close the B2C at 1 o'clock. In other places, we get that A to B deed recorded and we can't close for 3 or 4 days. That's okay. We get it. We do deals like that. Sometimes you'll have a deal where the seller will prohibit you from reselling the property for, say, 30 days. That's not all that uncommon on short sales. So if the deal makes sense, we just watch the clock tick out. If you've got a good, committed buyer lined up and ready to go, who's got skin in the game that will lose big if they walk away, well, then we're going to jump on that deal with you. The deal needs to make sense, but on those longer-term deals, we're all about it. We want to make money, and we zig when the market zigs and zag when the market zags. So you come on with us. And you know what? That is exactly what's going on in this market. It's zigging and zagging, and we're going with it. Am I guaranteeing that I'll fund every deal you bring to me? I can't do that, no. Back-to-back same-day deals? Shoot, we'll do those until we're blue in the face. Longer-term deals, all I ask is that they make sense. And that's not that hard. Here's another bunch of folks, more proof. Same as before, only different people, similar spreadsheet. We got customer name, we got property location, the amount we funded. Look at some of these deals. We funded almost $500,000 for Eric in Sedona, Arizona. We do little deals, big deals. Shoot, we've got a guy in Oklahoma that we funded, 10 or 15 deals for, and they're all under 10 grand. And we've got others, a guy named Felix, and he's at the bottom right there, Felix Liu. We funded, 7 or 8 deals for him. They range from a couple hundred up to $400,000 or $500,000. He makes $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a deal. He's a habitual funding customer. These are regular folks just like you, who heard this presentation or an earlier version of it. It's changed and evolved, certainly, who got on board and who are making a killing. Why not you? Look at that far right column. You want a piece of that? Well, come on. That's the beauty of it. Come on. The water's great, the timing's perfect, and it's there for you. Here's the thing. Here's the deal. I want you to understand something, and this will just take me a second to explain, and I might run in a minute or two long, but I really want you to know where I'm coming from. In 1995, I was, that's a long time ago. I was quite a bit younger than I am now, and I went to this I had just started teaching real estate with my friend Carlton Sheets. In fact, that's where I got my start in teaching. He used to bring me to some of his seminars, and I would do an hour session here and an hour session there. Well, it was right around that time I went to this huge arena event. It was a Peter Lowe event. You may remember those. And there was a guy there named Zig Ziglar, prolific guy. I bet every one of you guys have heard his name before. Anyway, he said something that struck me right between the eyes. He said, if you help other people get what they want out of their lives, you'll have everything in the world you ever desired. It's a nice way of suggesting that serving others is what brings the greatest abundance, right? And so I walked away with that thinking, you know what, that's why I love this teaching thing so much, because I'm helping people get more out of their lives. That helped me to define why I loved it so much. All these years later, I still do it, love it as much as ever. It's obviously still doing real estate deals full-time, too, so I'm a busy guy. But here's the thing. It was about 3 years ago, I was sitting on a little over 3 years ago, I was sitting on a huge pile of cash. And my accountant was giving me a hard time. He was really kind of breaking my chops, saying, look, you got to do something with this. It's just sitting there. It's dead. And I thought about it. I could have put it in the stock market. Am I ever glad I didn't do that? And then I came across this transactional funding concept, and I thought, ooh, you know what? I could do that. And I could help my student customers in a way that is so huge and would help them in such a big way to get what they want out of their lives. And I basically took that whole concept that I learned in '95 from Zig Ziglar to the next level. So now I'm helping other people get what they want out of their lives, and I literally have everything in the world I want. To say that I live large would be a giant understatement. I have an amazing life, one that I never thought I could possibly ever have. In fact, one I honestly didn't think I was even worthy of. I had to kind of come to grips with what was going on, and I'm here to tell you, I'm 49 years old. I've made a lot of decisions in my life, some good ones, some bad ones. The decision to get into the teaching business for the purpose of helping other folks was a good one, and the decision to get into this transactional funding was a huge one. I walk around on a cushion of air all day because I literally see the impact it has on my students. I see the profit. I see the closing statements. I know exactly how much you make on the deal. I make my tiny little sliver, and you make the giant paycheck. And some people wonder if that bothers me. Like a little more than halfway down, Jason Mauney from Suwanee, Georgia. I funded $106,000 for him. I made like $2,000 on the deal. I don't know, $2,100. He made $39,000. Some people wondered, does that upset you that he made so much and you made so little? Are you kidding me? Upset me? I couldn't be happier. It's a huge return on my investment. He's been back, and we funded multiple deals for him. You'll be back. That's why I do what I do. And that's why you will love working with me and my organization. This isn't a money grab. This is all about doing the right thing by people and being there and helping change lives. That's what it's about. Now, I'm not the least bit surprised if you're thinking to yourself, well, I've been offered a real estate program before. I know you have. But here's the thing. What I'm about to share with you, you might just think is too good to be true. In fact, there's a good chance you're going to think that, because what I'm about to share with you is really special. Now, if you do get that feeling, that's a good thing. A little healthy skepticism is a good thing. Too good to be true, right? Well, when and if you get that feeling, just simply remember this, what you've heard me say so many times already. I'm doing what I'm doing here now because I want to fund your deals. I make a ton of money funding deals, and I want to fund yours. And that's what gives me such an unusual vested interest in your success. And that's why I'm about to do what I'm about to do. Okay, so here's what you get. You get unlimited proof of funds. Those letters all backed by me. Remember, if your seller or seller's agent wants to see a bank statement to back it up, I will provide it. That's easily a $1,497 value. Then you're going to get my low-cost transactional funding. Now remember, for most folks, these deals, they're untouchable without access to the wet funds. This is the wet funds. This is how you can get in the game and watch your competitors sit on the sidelines with a tear in their eye while they watch you making a fortune. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, right? And then, like we talked about, I'm going to give you the iFlip system. I'm waiving the setup fee, and you get to try it out for 90 days with no commitment whatsoever. And when you love that system, you'll stick with it, and it's $49.99 per month after that. That includes hosting support and updates, just like we talked about. But there is absolutely no commitment, so give it a try. If you love it, you'll stay, and if you don't, you go. And that's as simple as that. Then I'm going to throw in 90 days of my cash buyer data feed. Okay, so this you haven't heard about. This is the second prong to my two-pronged approach to building your buyer's list. This is cash buyer data from all over the USA. Without a doubt, cash buyers are the best buyers out there. There's no hassles with them. They close quickly. They buy again and again, and they don't fall out. There's nothing worse than having a paycheck right at your fingertips and then the deal dies. Well, when you sell cheap to a cash buyer, they don't walk away because they want the deal and they want it bad. Cash buyers are the way to go. You're going to get access to cash buyers all across the USA. This is public data. It took me over 2 years to crack the code on this, by the way, and the data comes from multiple sources. It costs me a fortune, and then once we get it in here, we clean it all up and make it presentable to you. In fact, in the last cycle, we bring in a new batch of cash buyers, known cash buyers from public data each month. In the last cycle, we brought in 38,000 all across the USA. So you now have those buyers at your fingertips. Thousands of them are added every month. You can search through them freely. You can sort by site address, meaning the property that they bought. So if you're in a big market and you want to know where the action is, sort on site address, and the zip codes where all the action is are going to present themselves to you. Now you know exactly where to be doing business in your area. We have push button direct mail campaigns, and they're all done at my cost. You click a couple buttons, and you choose the letter, a templated letter or a custom one that you create with information about your property that you have for sale. Click a couple buttons, and out it goes. It goes to my printer here in upstate New York. I have a long-standing relationship with a direct mail printing house that does, inkjet addressing and all that stuff. And you can choose postcards or letters, color, non-color. You make those choices real simple. Click, 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 done. Those mail pieces go out within 72 hours, and it's all done at my cost. I've been doing business with this company for 9 years. I've sent millions of mail pieces through them, and you get my preferred pricing. This is not a profit center for me. The cost is passed right through to you. So now you can be in contact with the cash buyers anywhere you want, in your backyard, or let's say you're sitting in Chicago and you want to be doing deals in Fort Lauderdale because your mom lives there. Well, you've got access to the cash buyers there. You could be doing deals there from your desk in Chicago. So this takes the whole thing to the next level. And I'm telling you, if I had this when I started years ago, oh my gosh, I wish I knew me then. Seriously. And this is presented to you in a simple push button, a simple user-friendly dashboard environment so that you can access the data, these cash buyers, anywhere you want, anywhere in the USA, very simply and easily. And I'm telling you, having this information available to you is like having gold at your fingertips. Now, here's just a sampling, okay? So, man, by the way, if you don't see your state here, don't freak out. This is just a sampling of what came in the last 30 days. Take a look at it. I mean, we got over 5,000 cash buyers in the state of California. And by the way, you'll get a kick out of this, Stacy. Just recently, there was a cash buyer in the list in L.A. County, and you'll never guess who it was. Mr. Playboy Mansion himself, Hugh Hefner, was a cash buyer in the list a month or two ago.
Very
and,
nice.
I got a kick out of that. I thought, now there's a guy who's got it all, but apparently the Playboy Mansion isn't big enough for his antics, so he needs another property, right?
Nice.
He's an inspiration.
Exactly.
And then, all over the U.S. So again, if you don't see your state there, don't freak out. And by the way, if you happen to live in Connecticut, Massachusetts, or Maryland, I've got good news for you. I've got cash buyer data for you, and almost no one else can get it. Those states are tough as nails. So you're going to get access to that for 90 days at no cost to you. If you love it, you'll stick, and if you don't, you'll go. There's no commitment. It's simple as that. Okay, then I'm going to send you my Fast Cash with Foreclosures home study training system. This is going to go out literally immediately. These are in stock, and they will go out tomorrow. So, and by the way, they go by priority mail, so you're going to want to watch your mailbox. This is a brand new, hot-off-the-press program. It's not some old wine in new bottles. This is exactly what's working right now in this market, presented step by step with every I dotted and every T crossed, starting with, how to get your bird dogs excited and bringing in good deals, how to evaluate those properties, how much to pay for them, what it's going to cost to repair them. I've got a strategy to teach you how to estimate repairs without ever even going to the house. So now, if you're a big thinker, like we talked about before, and you're sitting in Chicago and you want to be doing deals in Fort Lauderdale, you don't have to go there to estimate repairs. I've got a strategy so that you can do it with a few photos, a little help from your bird dog, right at your desk. Then we'll talk about working with realtors, negotiating with realtors, the script, the one I mentioned earlier that you want to make sure you have in front of you when you talk to that REO listing agent for the first time. It's in there. Then we'll talk about selling the property, how much to ask for it, how to get your buyer engaged, how to go to your buyer's list and get them excited and get the ultimate end buyer, the one who says, I'll take it, how to get them committed to the deal, and then how to get to the closing and how that process works and how you can help in that process. But remember, we're going to be working with you. When we're funding the deal, we're working directly with your closing agent or closing agents so that everything goes nice and smooth. We talked about that. This is on 7 audio CDs and a 115-page manual. Okay, so notice I didn't say 315-page manual or 17 or 27 CDs. This is not a huge stack of stuff that's going to sit on your coffee table. This is an easy strategy to learn, it's an easy strategy to teach, and it will not require a big commitment of your time to learn it. Shoot, a couple days on your commute to work, and you'll have this knocked out, and you will be running like a banshee, heading right to your first paycheck. That's what it's all about. I want to get you through the studying process and get you doing the doing as quickly as possible. Now, also in that package, that priority mail package that's going to go out to you right away, I'm going to include my purchase and sale agreement program. This is on 2 CDs, and this is where I go through a sample purchase and sale agreement that comes with it. That's actually on a 3rd data CD, so you can print it out or look at it on your screen and follow along. And I go through it line by line, sentence by sentence, blank by blank, and talk about what this means, how it affects you, what goes in this blank, and why. Why not that? It needs to be this, and here's why. And it's all done through scenario-based teaching. And what I do is I talk about deals that I've done, and frankly, there's some really funny stories in here. Dumb stuff that I've done that I shouldn't have, and stuff that I didn't do that I should have. Hysterical stories, actually, and it's kind of fun to be able to look back and laugh at myself, and you and I both laugh at me. But here's the point. Now you can learn from my mistakes, and you will own this agreement. You'll never ever be intimidated by a purchase and sale agreement or contract again. You'll never be intimidated. In fact, you'll own it, and that's where I want to get you, so that you're comfortable with the one and only agreement you're going to use when you're wholesaling bank-owned properties. All you need is a purchase and sale agreement. We use it when we buy, and we use it when we sell. And in this presentation, I'll go through it twice. Once as the buyer, so that you understand what goes in it when you're the buyer, and then once as the seller, so you understand what goes in it when you sell. We don't buy like we sell. It is a very clear double standard, and so that way you'll get both sides of the coin. Very powerful presentation and a big part of the process. So I said earlier, too, I'd tell you how and why I would give you my personal support, okay? Here's the how. I'm going to give you 90 days in my inner circle. That is a very small group of like-minded real estate entrepreneurs, such as yourself, that I work with personally to help get to that next paycheck. So if you're brand new, I'm going to get you to your first paycheck. If you've been in the business a long time, we're going to get you to the next paycheck. And the way we do that is through twice monthly live deal maker webinars. They're done with me, hosted by me. It's pure Q&A, problem solving, deal analysis, absolutely no marketing on those webinars whatsoever, and they're done live with me. So when you've got a real estate question and you want me to address it, that's the place to do it. Then in between those webinars, you've got access to unlimited Q&A online through our massive members-only resource support site. Log in there, ask your question, and my team and I answer those questions on a daily basis. I was literally answering questions just a little bit before we got on this webinar, helping out folks. And then there is the archive of recordings of those webinars. There's the members-only resource site. It's huge. There's so much stuff. I don't even have time to get into it. There is an offer generator there that you're going to learn to love, though. That's where you fill in the numbers about your house. Just fill in a couple blanks, hit submit, and it does all the thinking for you. It explains what the best opportunity is with the deal and why. And it's a really powerful tool that a lot of folks now really aren't comfortable making their offers until they've run it through the offer generator, just to be sure they've considered every angle. You'll love the offer generator, and it's part of the Inner Circle members-only resource site. So there's the how. Here's the why I want to provide you with my personal support. And I can't, it should be obvious to you that I can only support so many people. I'm not ever willing to take on more folks than I can handle, because I refuse to compromise the quality of the support that I provide. So the why I do it is because I want to get you to that first deal, that first foreclosure flip deal, because it's like, they say about crack cocaine, right? You try it once and you're done. Same thing here, only in a good way. Do one of these deals, just one, and you will be hooked, and you'll turn into another of our serial funding clients. That's what we love. We don't want to fund one deal for you. We want to fund 100 deals for you, and the sooner I turn you into a serial funding client, the better for both of us, because we've already established you're going to make the big life-changing check. I get my little teeny bit, which is all I need to be happy, and we go do it again and again and again. So if I can take you by the hand to that first deal, I know how powerful that first deal is to you, to your family, to your loved ones, and to me, because now you'll be a serial funding client. So look, this is win-win. This is about getting you to the next level, you in a place where you can exhale, you in a place where your heirs will thank you, and me, more deals done, more money brought into my organization as well. This is win-win. That's what it's all about. Okay, so then I'm going to give you 2 tickets to my 3-day live training called the Vacant House and Foreclosure Summit. This is 3 days of no BS, content-rich, what's working right now training with me. All 3 days with me. We get in detail now. Okay, so the home study system and everything that you're going to have access to, online here in the next couple minutes, that's more than enough to get cranking. What I want is for you to come to the event to take it to the next level, to really go way in, all in. And at this event, we do scenario-based teaching with case studies. We talk specifics about funding. We talk about why this deal worked so well, why this deal didn't work so well. So you get the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you walk away a much smarter individual and loaded for bear. You can bring a guest, anybody you want, and I'm here to tell you, if you have an unsupportive spouse or significant other, bring them. Because after 3 days with me and my antics, and believe me, you will have fun, you will laugh, and we have a blast at these events. Bring your spouse or significant other, and if they are unsupportive, especially because after 3 days with me, if they don't turn around and get on your team, get rid of them. Simple as that. Now, I do these 3 or 4 times a year, east, west, and middle. You pick the date and location that works best for you, but come to the event. It's a $3,000 value. You and the guest of your choice come and spend 3 days of quality time with me, and I'll change you for sure. Guys, this is a $10,600 value, all of this in front of you, and I'm going to break it down for you right now. Okay, Cam, enough already. How much? Well, here's the bottom line. What I'm going to ask you for is a retainer. So when you use my service, you effectively pay nothing. Now, I'm asking you to put up a retainer, and normally it's $2,000, but hold the phone, because Stacy's done a nice job of beating me up here, so hang in with me. It's going to get better. But what I'm getting at is that you're basically paying for the services now, and then when I fund your deal, you get that right back. You get the retainer back on the first deal I fund for you. So simply how it works is your cost on the first deal I fund for you will be the points only minus the retainer, and you keep everything. It's as simple as that, and it's really a very, very fair deal. I've put a lot of time and thought into this, and it works well. So you're going to get a funding fee reduction certificate like the one on your screen now. It's signed by me, and it explains it all in clear terms in black and white. It's a one-time fee. You never have to put up another retainer. When you get it back, you keep everything, and it doesn't expire. So if I fund your deal in the next couple weeks or the next couple months or in the next year, it doesn't matter. On the very first deal I fund for you, your funding fee will be reduced by the amount of your retainer. And what Stacy's gotten me to agree to do is to cut that in half. Now, normally it's $2,000, but I'm going to cut it in half. This screws up my business model, but I'm willing to do it for Stacy. And look, if you're a friend of Stacy's, you're a friend of mine, but I can only do it for the first 10 folks. It's as simple as that. So if you're excited and you want to get on board, head over to that website you see on the screen right now and do this. After those 10 spots are gone, it goes back to the normal $2,000, which you'll get back on the first deal I fund for you, but you might as well do it right now while it's half. Now, here's a question. This is a frequently asked question that I get a lot. What if the first deal you fund for me, the funding fee is less than $1,000? Well, then on that funding, we will do it for you for free. You pay nothing for that funding, and any balance carries over to the next deal, and you'll get it back on that deal. So you're going to get your money back, whether it's one deal or more than one deal. There's no games. This is just as simple as it gets. And then here's another one. I get this often a lot. Hey, why do I have to put up this retainer? Couldn't you just give me all this stuff, and then we'll work it out on the funding fee? The answer to that is I can't do it. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, when you get on board, like I know folks are doing right now, head over to reisecrets.com/CAM, my name, C-A-M. When you get on board, like folks are doing right now, what happens is you get access to everything I have to offer, including my entire team here in my office. Remember, when you need help, you pick up the phone, you send an email, or you do a live online chat. You're talking to my people in my office right here. I don't outsource this to virtual assistants in the Philippines. That's not how I roll. Remember, we take care of people the way I want to be taken care of when I'm out doing business, and that's how it works around here. So you get access to everything I've got and my entire team. It wouldn't be fair to me to give you that access without getting something from you, some sort of commitment, some sort of skin in the game. All I'm asking for is a measly $1,000. You get access to all of it, and then on the first deal we fund for you, you get it right back. Simple as that. Win-win. If I gave this away, think about it, my people would be tied up on the phone and by email with people who had made no commitment. That wouldn't be fair to us, and it wouldn't be fair to you. So it's sort of my way of separating the folks, separating the real committed, serious action takers by asking for this small retainer and then giving it right back to you, because we make our money funding these deals. So when we fund the deal, I'm happy to give it back to you. And remember, on that first deal that we fund for you, everything's going to change. It's like crack cocaine. You'll never be able to walk away from it. You'll come back and do it again and again and again. And what will happen is your spouse, your kids, your parents will be encouraging you. They'll say, go do it again. Please do that again. That's my goal, to get you past that first deal. And that's why I'm willing to give you this back on that first deal. So now you have yet another incentive, not just the big paycheck, but to get your retainer back when you do it. That's just plain fair, win-win, fair as could be. All right, and naturally, there is a 30-day unconditional guarantee on the program. If you're unhappy for any reason, just return it. That's how Stacy and I roll. That's the way we do this. Get over to reisecrets.com/CAM, or Stacy's got team members ready to take your call right now. If you're driving down the road, you're listening but can't get on the internet to place your order, then call toll-free 888-298-6345. By far and away, the fastest way to do this, to be sure you're one of the first 10 before that price goes back up to the normal $2,000, is to do it online. Get over to reisecrets.com/CAM. That's the fastest way to get there. Okay, why am I doing this? I've said it before. I'll say it one last time. I'm in it for the funding fees. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm spending my time with you now. I want to fund your deals. All right? Simple as that. All right, why do you need to do this now? Well, the opportunity in the marketplace is right now. There's no doubt about it. This isn't well, I'll get started in 6 months or next year. You need to get started right this minute. Follow my lead and you'll cash a check in a matter of days. In fact, I bet you've got a deal on your desk right now where you're saying, my gosh, I could actually do this deal with what he's providing me. That's another very big reason why you need to get on this right now. And the other big reason is the discounted deposit retainer is strictly limited to the first 10 folks. And man, am I glad I put this slide in here, or I would have totally forgotten this, Stacy. If you're among the first 10 folks, I'm also going to include in the package we're sending out by priority mail a grocery coupon that gets you $1,000 in free food. So there's another way you're going to get your retainer back with $1,000 in free food. The way it works is simple. You create a little account online and you order the grocery coupons that you want. Okay, so let's say you enjoy eating Captain Crunch cereal in the morning and Jolly Green Giant green beans in the evening. You order coupons for the specific food items that you want, that you like, that you buy. Then you take those coupons and redeem them at the checkout at your grocery store, and sometimes they double or triple them, and you get a minimum of $1,000 in free food. You got to be one of the first 10, and I'll throw that certificate in the package with it so that you can get your free food. So get over to reisecrets.com/CAM or call 298-6345. Did I say that number right before, Stacy? I hope.
Yeah, you sure did.
Okay,
you
good.
Sure did.
Because I have another 888 number that rattles in my head, and I thought I might have said it by accident. Again, reisecrets.com/CAM or call 888-298-6345. Now, Stacy, you've been a gracious host. You've let me run through this thing like a madman, and I really appreciate it. Is this a fair offer for your folks?
This is a fair offer, dude. This is more than fair, and in fact, this is one of the most amazing offers I've ever seen. You almost made me whip out my credit card just now, just to get with the $1,000 in grocery coupons. Because I told you earlier, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old plus me. You can't imagine what my grocery bill is. My wife grew up with girls. She just has sisters, and all of her cousins are girls. She can't barely fathom how much boys eat. And she can barely keep the pantry stocked because the boys come home from school and they're just like, they just devour everything. You didn't even tell me you were doing that grocery thing. That is amazing.
I snuck it in on you.
I love that, man. So yes, this is absolutely amazing. One of the best offers I've ever seen. And it's not only one of the best offers I've ever seen. We've already got people who are taking action, and I know that's exactly those are the people that you want to work with.
Yeah,
those are going to be your next rock stars. I want to congratulate Sally, Jim, and Tom. They're the first 3 people to take advantage of this. So 3 of the 10 spots are already gone. Guys, again, stop thinking about this. Stop thinking about it. There's nothing to think about. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. You're completely backed by mine and Cam's 30-day money-back guarantee. This is everything you need to get started in real estate today, everything you need from A to Z. So get over to reisecrets.com/CAM. That's reisecrets.com/CAM right now. Don't think about it, or give us a call at 888-298-6345. You don't need to call in and ask if you were one of the first 10. If I haven't called your name out yet, it's because I have to flip back and forth between my email and the presentation. So you may have already put your order in, and I haven't had a chance to read your name yet. Don't freak out. And don't freak out, and you don't have to call in and ask if you're one of the first 10, because there's a pop-up on the website that will pop up once those first 10 spots are gone. But don't miss out on this. Are you kidding me? He's giving you everything you need from A to Z to get started in real estate and to finally get your first check in your hand. I mean, he hasn't just given you the map with the X and said, here's where the gold is. Go find it for yourself. He's literally walking you to the X. He's taken the shovel. He's already dug the hole. All you have to do is jump down in the hole with him and help pull the gold out of the ground. That's all you have to do. He's already done all the hard work for you. So take him up on this offer, get your first check in your hand, change your financial future, and do it right now. Go to reisecrets.com/Cam or give us a call at 888-298-6345. And we've also, I want to say congratulations to Orrin and Julie. So 5 of the first 10 are already gone, man.
Good. I look forward to working with you guys.
That's how fast that happens. Cam, we also have had a lot of questions come in. Do we have a second to tackle some of these questions?
Yeah, happy to do it.
All right, cool. The first question that came in, and I like this question, a little bit skeptical, but we'll go ahead and we'll tackle this one. Is this really everything I need to make money with foreclosures?
Great question, and yes. What I have not done is, and it's probably fairly obvious to most of you guys when you consider how incredibly complete this package is. In fact, I will back up and put that back on the screen so that you can see it.
All right.
This is everything you need to be doing foreclosure deals right now, and in particular, it's the proof of funds and the funding that are an absolute requirement. Without them, you don't even get off the bench. Then iFlip helps you automate the process. The cash buyer data feed provides you with another source of buyers, so you've got your web leads coming in through your iFlip website, and you've got cash buyers. It's the home study training with all the detail. I am an extraordinarily detail-oriented guy, and so you can imagine that presentation is very detail-oriented. Every I dotted, every T crossed. Support from me, and then an event you can come and really polish it up, sharpen the axe. It's everything you need. What I have not done is left something out and then have some, sales team that's going to call you and upsell you on something that you really have to have in order to make this work. That is not how I roll. So this is everything you need, and I'm glad you asked.
All right, cool. He's giving you the money. He's giving you the buyers. He's giving you the system. He's giving you access to his inner circle. You get access to his staff to ask questions. Plus, you get to go to his 3-day live event and do an intensive get down into the nitty gritty, and get up and close and personal with Cameron. Ask him questions face to face. It's everything you need. Thanks for answering that. Let's see. Here's another question. Why do I have to put up a deposit now? Okay, good.
Well, I kind of addressed that. But I'm happy to address it again. And I realize I'm sort of repeating myself, but the reality is this is how I know you're serious, and this is how I separate the wheat from the chaff. I know that sounds maybe a little harsh, but I want to work with people who are motivated, excited, and are willing to put some skin in the game and just show commitment and not just, gobble up my system and my people's time with no skin in the game. That's not fair. That's not win-win. Win-win is where you put up this retainer, knowing full well that when I fund that deal for you, it'll come right back, and have full access to my team. Look, the retainer helps me cover my costs up front, but then when we fund that deal, that's where I make my money. That's why I'm happy to give it back. It would be win-lose if you had nothing in the deal. I'm asking for just $1,000, and then it's win-win.
Absolutely, man. I could not agree more. And what you need to realize is that guys like Cameron and I have spent thousands of hours developing our products. You can't imagine the time and effort and energy that goes into creating something like this, a total turnkey system, everything you need from A to Z. It takes us a lot of time. And not only that, then once we get past all the time that we put into creating these systems, then we have to have them printed up and shipped to you. I just ran out of some systems for one of my courses, Cam. I know this happens to you all the time. My fulfillment company called me and they said, hey, you need to do a minimum order. The minimum order is going to cost me $3,000 just to have them printed up before I ever even sell them. $3,000 right out the door.
Well, it's true, but the real cost that goes into a program like this is supporting the folks after the fact, the payroll, the office building, the 401ks, the health care, and all of that. Crazy expensive. And, look, we don't need to justify this, Stacy. If there's somebody on the line that can't see the value in this and is flat out unwilling to put a little skin in the game to get involved, well, then I don't think there's anything we could say to fix that.
I absolutely couldn't agree with you more, and apparently Walter couldn't agree with you more. Walter is the next person to take action, and again, if I haven't called your name, I'm trying to flip back and forth in my email. The orders are coming in so fast it's hard to keep up with them, but I believe that's 6 so far. 6 of the 10 spots are already gone, Cam.
Okay, so, good. Look forward to working with you.
Congratulations. Yeah, congrats, Walter. All right, let's see. I like this question. This is somebody who obviously is probably a seasoned real estate investor. So let's discuss this. Can you discuss FHA's 90-day title seasoning issue? Good question.
Sure. That has been suspended for the last couple, 2.5 years. And so for a long time, FHA would not insure a mortgage where the seller was not on title for at least 90 days prior to the date of the contract, with their potential borrower. And what that did was it totally stifled the real estate business, in particular for investors who are rehabbing houses. Now, this is not a rehabbing program we're talking about, but your buyers are rehabbers. And so the fact that 90-day title seasoning is no longer an issue is a big thing for them. That's not to say that FHA doesn't have its other ways to be, annoying, but and which is one of the reasons why I prefer to be a wholesaler, because I don't deal with FHA. I don't deal with end-user buyers. I sell to investors who then do that. And by the way, they're so busy doing that, they appreciate it when you and I provide them with deals that they don't have to spend a ton of time finding. And as long as we've left enough profit on the table for them, they'll gobble up every one we can get, because they're busy dealing with their crews, getting the houses fixed, and dealing with their buyers and all the financing and all the, the nuances of that. And so, a good investors, the ones that really get it, they rely on wholesalers. And so, in short, the 90-day title seasoning thing being suspended is a good thing, and I'm glad they did it. And I thought it was interesting. The first time they suspended it, I said to myself, oh my gosh, here's an organization with the word federal in it. FHA is Federal Housing Authority. Here's an organization with the word federal in it, meaning federal government, that actually gets it. They're not utterly inept. They get it, and that's why they suspended that rule.
All right, awesome. Here's another question that came in. And again, I'm going to apologize right now. There are a ton of questions. I'm trying to go through and just pick the ones that pop out to me, ones that I've heard from my own students as well. So if I don't read your question, don't get offended, and please understand there's no way I can read all these questions, Dan. You have sparked some really, really interesting questions. And I like this one here. Does your training explain how to negotiate with an REO agent?
Oh yeah, big part of it is including the script. So I'll talk to you about how to negotiate with that agent, what their hot buttons are, what motivates them, and then with the program you get the script. So that first conversation you have with that REO agent, you don't forget to ask or forget to say, the important stuff. Obviously, a script is meant as a guide. You wouldn't want to read it, or you'd sound like a robot, or you'd sound like you were reading off a teleprompter or something. No, but it's critical because, look, I've been in this business almost 20 years, and when I'm talking to an REO agent for the first time, I get the script out myself, because I want to make sure that I didn't forget to ask or say the most important things, because they say, and it's true, you only have one opportunity to make a first impression. So yes, that is a big part of the training, and I'm glad you asked. Okay,
perfect. And congratulations to Jan. Jan is your next multimillionaire student.
Awesome.
Cam.
Look forward to working with you, Jan.
So, absolutely. And let me ask, do you have time for one more question?
Sure.
I know we're running a little long and a little short on time. Again, I apologize. I just simply cannot. There are 20-plus questions there. I just don't have time to answer them all. Let's see. This is a good one, because I know I hear this from my students a lot, and I know this is a big reason. This is a big fear that holds a lot of people back from doing their first deal. Cam, what if I can't find a buyer before my contract with my seller expires?
Yeah, great question. Well, in this market, you can reasonably expect to get an extension of contract from your seller. So here's the thing, though. Let's kind of analyze this. If you're not finding a buyer for your deal, there are solutions to that challenge. However, let's look at the core problem. Why not? Why are you not finding a buyer for this property? If you focused on entry-level homes, the ones that sell to first-time homebuyers, like we've talked so much about, and if you've taken greed out of the equation and you've left enough profit on the table for your buyer to be more than happy and to jump on the deal, that situation should never occur. So if it ever does occur, you've probably got a situation where you're asking too much. So what I suggest you do is ask the seller for an extension, go back, revisit your numbers, lower your asking price as much as you're able to do, and go back to your buyers list with this price reduction, and I bet you find a buyer. So, the reality is extensions are not uncommon in this market. And the reality is, if you find yourself in that place, there's probably only one reason why, and that's that you asked too much. And that, by the way, is a very big part of my training. I'm going to talk to you about what your buyer expects to pay and how to get them, excited, what to ask, how much should you ask, and all of that, so that that situation should never arise.
Yeah, and not only that, you're showing them how to build their cash buyers list.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and that's huge. So this probably doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't. As long as you price it right. Look, you could have a huge buyers list through your iFlip website, and you could have access to all the cash buyers across the USA and not be able to sell your house if you're asking too much.
Yeah. One of the only reasons the house will not sell is price. There's some other reasons, if it's completely jacked up, if it's burned to the ground. But even then, price is one of the biggest reasons properties don't sell. So you've got to learn how to price it right. And I know Cameron's going to show you exactly how to do all of that. That's what your generator, your offer generator software is all about. It does all the work for them, right, Cam?
It does indeed.
So, all right. I want to say congratulations to David. He's the next person to jump on board. Cam, that's 8 of the 10 spots are already gone.
Well, congrats, guys. I look forward to working with you.
Guys, again, stop thinking about this. This is a brain-dead, take action now offer. You don't need to think about this. Cameron is offering you everything on a silver platter. Okay, this is coming from a gentleman who has been in the real estate business for 20 years, and he's been teaching for something like 18 of those 20 years. Okay, he knows this stuff dead cold. He could teach this in his sleep, literally. So get over to reisecrets.com/Cam right now. He's taken all of the risk out of this for you. Not only are you completely guaranteed or backed by his 30-day money-back guarantee, he's also going to give you $1,000 in grocery coupons. I didn't even know that existed. I got to figure out how to get my $1,000 in grocery coupons because, that will last me and the boys like a week. Oh. They eat like horses. It's unbelievable. And they're only 4 and 6. I'm shaking my head. I'm thinking, what happens when they're 14 and 16?
Well, you know, because you were that age.
Yeah, I know. I ate like 10 times a day. Yeah. This is absolutely everything you need to get started. Let Cameron help you get your very first real estate check in your pocket, in your bank account. And like he said, once you let him take once you let him demystify this, it's not as hard or as crazy as you think it may be right now. It's super simple. He's going to hold your hand every step of the way, and he's going to give you every single tool that you need, including the money. It's everything that you need to get started. You're going to get that first check in your hand. You're going to deposit it in your bank account, and it's going to be, just like Cameron said, like real estate crack. You're going to want to come back for more. So get over to reisecrets.com/Cam right now, or give us a call at 888-298-6345. I do not want you to miss out on being one of the first 10 people to get your order in. I don't want you to be on the outside looking in and kicking yourself when those 10 spots are gone and asking yourself, what if I woulda, shoulda, or coulda? Just make it happen. Do it right now. Stop thinking about it. Just do it. Cam, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today to share this wonderful information with us. It's been amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely my pleasure. Appreciate the opportunity and really look forward to working with your folks.
I do as well. Do you have any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how there'll be a day in the future when we look back on this period of time, this period of our economy and the real estate market, and most people, the vast majority, will say, "Gosh, I wish I got involved then." Mm-hmm. Very few people will say, "Gosh, I'm glad I got involved then," and your heirs will thank you. Don't be the one who says, "I wish I got involved then." It's sort of like saying, if I had just bought Microsoft at $4 a share. Well, right now real estate's on sale. The opportunity's huge, and to not jump on this, it would be a lifetime mistake.
Absolutely. We're about to see one of the largest wealth transfers in the history of the world, and you can grab as much or as little of it as you want. Cameron's showing you how. Right now, go to reisecrets.com/Cam and get on board and ride the wave with Cam. Cam, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. This has been great stuff, man.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.